Okay, Mitra. This episode is for those relationships that are the most significant in our lives and the ones that, despite however much work we've done to try and heal these relationships, certain patterns just keep repeating. It might change its face. We might become more sophisticated and more mature in how we respond, but the core of it has remained. And these can be very frustrating. I've dealt with it, and I know I have friends who've dealt with it. Let's create a scenario, okay?
How
So
about going to real scenario? You were telling me about your friend.
yeah, so let's just say I have a friend, and this friend is a very close friend of mine. For as long as I can remember, anytime we would do something that was involved transaction or some sort of business or whatever, my friend would, in my perception, become irrational and start accusing me of trying to take advantage of them and whatnot. It would invariably lead to a very difficult situation and kind of a scenario of drama. No matter how rational I might show up with them, no matter how reasonable I perceived myself as showing up. And I found myself in this scenario with this friend yet again recently.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm asking myself, what am I missing? you know, what is happening? Because I'm doing quote unquote all the right things, right? and they're responding in the same way. I'm gonna pause there and I'm gonna let you comment before we open that up more.
Sure. You're laughing because we talked about this.
Yeah.
And the question is, so first of all, you're seeing a pattern, which is amazing. You're identifying a pattern. You realize that in this particular relationship, you've been behaving or experiencing this thing, whatever the thing is. And the fact that it is reoccurring, it means that it has not fully healed. And let me qualify that. It doesn't mean when we heal, the people around us change. What it means is when we heal, we don't even notice it. So you wouldn't be telling me after saying, how are you? That, oh, Mitra, you won't believe what happened with this childhood friend of mine, blah, 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 blah. You will be saying, fine, life is going as it planned to go. How are you, Mitra? But you didn't. You went to go on telling me about the story, which means it has not healed. That is the first thing we do. We identify a pattern between us and them, whoever them are, that has not been healed. That's the first step. And you did that. You did that beautifully. Should I go on?
Yeah.
Okay. And then next step is to go from that side to this side. What do I mean? Is the easiest thing for human beings is to tell us, like you did, and I would tell you, that they are the problem. They haven't changed, which is very accurate. You're right. This friend has not changed for all these decades and may not change forever. So my question always is this: if they never change, I mean, my teacher used to say, some people have come on a holiday spiritually in this lifetime. Doesn't matter what they say, what courses they take, what retreats they go to, what drugs they try. The fact is they have come on a holiday, just like you and I go to Rome. And what we do is best. We will go some sightseeing. We do have like some good food, some shopping, but we won't accomplish much because we're on a holiday, right? Some spirits, some souls are in that holiday mode, and we have to respect that journey too. So I assume when it happens to me, and believe me, it happens often, I assume the person is going to stay very, very much exactly the same. I assume they are on a spiritual holiday in this lifetime. Now, immediately that brings my attention to myself. What am I going to do if the person stays the same, not just this year, not this time, but for rest of my life? And that completely changes and brings the responsibility to my side. Of course, this is not psychologically speaking. This is spiritually speaking, because I want to resolve and dissolve this pattern and this sensitivity and whatever that is that has not been resolved and dissolved. I do not mind, and I'm not responsible for their journey. They are, but I am responsible for my journey, and I really don't want to repeat this pattern again. I want the next time that it happens, it would be just the observation and the smile saying, I've come a long way, haven't I? To myself. They're being them, whatever the them is that provoked me before. And here I am seeing them and thinking, I hope you have a good time in this holiday season that you're in.
Well, when we truly heal from it, and I've experienced this, we don't even realize it. We don't
There you
even,
go.
we forget.
Yes.
We forget. It just no longer is an issue because it's out
Yes.
of our mind. It's literally out of our mind.
Yes.
And then I'll reflect back on it and be like, oh shit, I
It's gone.
didn't respond the way I usually do. So it's not in the moment. Because in the
Yes.
moment, if I'm thinking about it, I still haven't let go of something.
Yes.
But when it's fully gone, when it's healed, we don't even realize it. And it's not until we reflect back on an interaction, we're like, oh wow, something
Yes.
has changed.
It's like a headache. These things are a headache. So I have a headache. I'm very aware of it. My focus is on my pain. Whatever I do, whatever my thing is, I do, and the headache is gone. And then I'm sitting there and you say, Mitra, how's your headache? I say, what? You say, your headache. I say, it's gone. Because when it's not there, I'm not paying attention to a pain that doesn't exist. The same way I won't pay attention to a sensitivity, an unresolved issue that doesn't exist. So it's exactly like taking a painkiller, whatever that your thing is, naturally, organically, or chemically, and not having a headache anymore. So there is no report on no headache. I don't say, hello, I do not have a headache, Ben. I only report when I do have a headache. You say, how are you? I say, I have a really difficult headache today. Right?
Yeah.
So the question is, if the pain of this relationship, which is actually a prize, not a pain, it's a different P, is resolved and dissolved, how would I be? Meaning, if they stay the constant, what I need to do. And then the third step is to do it for the purpose of resolving, not for the purpose of changing them, because our hidden and deepest agenda really is, or desire perhaps, that we want the other person to change and show up a little bit differently this time. I'm hoping. And the closer the relationship, the stronger the desire.
Of course. Yeah.
Like if it's my father or my brother, a lifetime of desire. I really want my family members to show up differently. And I have very good reason for it. I can give you 25 incidents recently that how they didn't do this and they didn't do that. But the question is, if it's in my awareness, obviously, and I'm the one who's journeying, you said in the beginning of the episode, this episode is for those people who have done the work, that are aware of the journey, want to go further beside and beyond psychological, that you take responsibility for you, I take responsibility for me, and we negotiate and mediate. We can do that. No problem. I do a lot of mediation work, but we're talking about the next step.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's get a little bit deeper into this example. So we were talking before, I recognize, okay, that reaction that this friend has it's not going to change. And some part of me is wanting and yearning for their reaction to change. And one reaction that they have, they perceive me, or they claim that I'm, making it about myself, or that I'm trying to take advantage of them. And for me, I feel like, oh my God, like that makes no sense. To me, it's like, that's not at all. It's actually it's the opposite. I'm wanting to do what is in the best interest of us, of our relationship. It's that reaction. It's that reaction. So I can be doing all the right things, right? And their response, if I'm expecting them to respond differently, then I haven't truly healed. So I'm expecting a different response. So some part of me is really feels hurt by what I perceive as being gaslighted. That really hurts me. So I'm going to stop there. What's your comment or question?
My comment is that the moment there is a they involved in your discussion in your head, you are on the wrong path. As far as journeying and healing energetically, you are on the right path if you're doing it psychologically. We're talking about energetic healing, which is beyond psychological discussions and therapeutic tools. There shouldn't be, wrong word, shouldn't. In the world of healing, in the world of energetic healing, there is no they. It is only me, and I'm doing, and I'm being, and I'm showing up differently. In fact, if anything, they are the tool for my being different, for my evolution and revelation of whatever it is that is happening. So the moment there is a they involved in this discussion, and it is in my head, that means I'm still trying to bring justice to this scenario.
That's a very, yeah, justice is a very that word resonated with me.
Yes.
There's
Yes.
some part of me that wants justice, wants
Yes.
fairness. I don't want my intentions to be misperceived. I don't want to be accused of something that I'm not doing.
Yes.
That's not fair. I want justice.
Exactly. Yes. But in
Yes.
the beginning, you said this is for people who've gone beyond that. That was the given. That was the assumption for this discussion. If that's the case, we can go there and talk about justice. I mean,
No, no, no.
okay.
I'm just pointing out that that
Yes.
is the part of me
Yes.
that points to something. It's that part of
Yes.
me that wants the justice. And
Yes.
so the key then is to let go of
Of that
that
justice.
desire for the justice. So whatever part of me is attached to that,
Mhm.
and we spoke, and you mentioned, before the interview, that we can leave it to a higher power, and that resonated with me. It's not necessarily the same thing for everyone, but for me, let God resolve it. Hand it over to God, or hand it over to the Holy Spirit, or hand it over to the universe, the Divine Mother.
Yes, but it's
And
more than that. It is more than that. What you're saying is not just like, oh, I'm being holy and I'm leaving it to higher powers, that I am aware that this is being done with me, with my cooperation. So people talk about whether this is for me or against me. It is with you, actually. It's neither for you nor against you. It is with you. I am an active participant in bringing this scenario to my awareness. Their journey is not part of this discussion. So even leaving it to God means like, oh, it's like, it's like we have this saying in Farsi, like, I forgive you. But the tone is like, I'm not forgiving. It's a punishment.
there's
I
still an
leave it up to God.
expectation.
May God
Yeah,
forgive
yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah, yeah. May God bring justice. No,
Exactly.
it's not even about that. I mean, and I feel that. I
Yeah,
feel I feel that it's really about just letting it go altogether, recognizing that this whole scenario, it doesn't mean anything. It actually, in and of itself, doesn't mean anything.
nothing.
Wanting to be understood, in and of itself, doesn't mean anything. It only means what I have it mean for me.
Mhm,
I could just give up that meaning, the
mhm.
meaning and the value I've given to being understood as something that I need. I could just give that up. And by giving that up, the whole thing just dissolves. It just becomes irrelevant.
Exactly. What
And
becomes relevant is your growth.
yeah, and what I recognize is that my own peace, my own sense of value, of self-love, I'm not going to depend on some external validation. I could simply let go of that expectation, let go of the meaning I'm
Mhm.
giving to being understood by someone, and just recognize that it's already there.
Exactly. Actually, life, and I say this in the honor and respect for life is quite neutral and meaningless. It is what we give it that gives it meaning. So it is quite meaningless. Meaning it doesn't mean that it doesn't have value. It means that it comes neutral. It's like a cup. It's given to us. What do you like to put in it? You can leave it empty. I can put water. I can put alcohol. I can put coffee. I can put poison. I can do healing, medicine. All of that is a cup. It's a holder. Is cup bad? Well, it depends what you put in it. I put this in it, then it becomes healing for me. You put that in it, it becomes healing for you. So when we understand that, and it's a hard one to digest because there's a lot of responsibility in that. Oh my God,
Yeah.
are you saying that I'm responsible for this? And the answer is yes. If you were the one that gave it all the meaning, what meaning would you like to give it?
I was laughing with the cup example because, it's as if we take this cup, which we perceive as empty, but it's actually not empty. We fill it with something, and then we're like, no, I don't really quite like the way that is. Let me change it with this coloring, or let me change it with this chemical composition. Oh, no, I don't like that. So let me fix it with this. And we end up with this cup of like just this compounding complexity of us trying to fix and solve and resolve, when in reality we could just empty the cup, just empty the cup. And the empty cup is actually not empty. It's filled with oxygen, with air, with presence, with awareness. It's filled. It's a full cup. We've just chose to perceive that it's not a full cup. And if we just let go, the analogy is the liquid in there is that whole what I was the expectation, the meaning that I was giving to wanting to be understood. Just empty it.
Yes. And
And
in the
and there's
fear
nothing to
state,
do. There's nothing to
exactly,
do.
nothing to do. In the fear state, you know what cup is filled with? A lot of reaction, a
Yeah.
lot of expectations, a lot of what I call winning. When Ben does this, when Ben treats me like that, when Ben changes, then I will. And I won't admit to it, but the fact is that's what I've been doing. We're all in the waiting room, waiting for people to change and learn and grow and respect us and love us and honor us and whatever it is, support us. And then we'll be waiting for a long time because that cup can be filled with exactly what we want if we don't allow it to be in reaction to, in anticipation and expectation of things and people.
Yeah. So getting to that point might not be, I mean, it's one thing to hear it, and it's one thing to like, even when we hear it, we might resonate with what's being said right
Mhm.
now, like, oh, I get it. But actually embodying it, imbibing it, um, becoming it is a whole
Mhm.
nother thing.
Yes. Yes.
And so let's talk about that journey, because I imagine it's different for everybody.
Mhm.
For one person, it might be, just taking some time to reflect, creating space and emptiness, taking a long walk. You know, another person, it could be, taking some time to do creative work. Someone else might be journaling, poetry. Let's talk about that journey. What comes to you in terms of someone getting to that place where they become it, where it really solidifies and crystallizes?
Hmm.
What do you have to
It's
say
really a
about that?
choice making moment, at least for me. It
Yeah.
is when I make that choice, because sometimes I know personally, pretend I've made that choice. And I know it because there's a bit of a, like you say, how are you? There's a bit of a, and she didn't, and he didn't. And it's like, I'm still waiting. I'm still in expectation. So when I make the choice, and believe me, I know when I do, it is so crystal clear that
Hmm.
I've turned around. I did a U-turn. I call it a U-turn. I've done a U-turn. I no longer, I choose, and I know these things sound like poetry to people who may not have tried it. But when I truly choose to be the love, the light, the comfortable person, let's not even call it something big. I want to be comfortable. I want to be drama free. Let's make it something very tangible instead of calling it something that is out of this, realm of existence. I want to be comfortable. You know what? I don't want anybody to be different. The moment I make that decision, something settles in me. The expectations settle, and I go into the room to be with that person, be it my friend from childhood in your case, or be it my family member, or my partner, life partner, or my child. I go into that room, into that discussion and connection room, wanting nothing and being everything, everything I want. And they may not. And by the way, I say this, and sometimes people try it and say, I did that, but they didn't change. I say, like that wasn't,
You haven't made the
that
decision.
wasn't the idea. I don't
Yeah.
do this so that my loved one or my friend will change. I do this to liberate myself from this chain of begging for people to be different, because we are begging.
Yeah. Yeah. So getting to that point of decision, right? So I really resonate with what you're sharing. It's true for me in um, aspects of my personal growth journey is coming to that decision point, recognizing. But the key is this, realizing that it is my decision.
Yes,
You know,
absolutely.
what happens when I reflect on my process and my journey is leading up to that point, I don't realize that it actually is my decision. I can't see how it is my decision.
Mhm.
I can fake the decision. I could just say, I'm just going to decide to let go of this. I'm just going to make that decision now, but it's actually not coming from an integrated place. It's not coming, it's not a total decision. It's not a
Mhm.
the whole of my mind, the whole of my being hasn't made that decision. Parts
Mhm.
of me are still fragmented. And when it comes to that journey of getting to that place where we can actually recognize
Mhm.
that it is our decision, like, oh my God, no, I can see very clearly I'm choosing this. I just have to choose. And then to make that decision from that place, from a place of wholeness. So the journey of getting there, what do you have to say about that?
So I look at things from physical perspective, mental perspective, and energetic perspective. Physically, sometimes I decide, and what happens is this is how it's going to look. I say, you know what? I'm really tired of this relationship being so difficult. So I try, and these words are keywords, I try not to answer. So let's say the conflict is between us, and I sit there and you say this, and I say, nope. I sat there and people say that. I did not say anything. But that's not sustainable, because I'm really inside of me. I'm boiling. I'm
Mm-hmm.
wanting. And it's like, it's
Mm-hmm.
so difficult. So that's at the physical level. I do not say anything when you do this and that. And then the next step is psychological, mental, that I understand, I accept, I see you, I realize you also had troubles. That's why you're doing that. And that's great too. That's much better than not understanding. But what we're talking about today in this particular subject, we're talking about the level of energetics. Energetically, I don't need to try to be quiet. I don't even need to understand you. What I really get to is that I understand this is something that I want to do, and I want to resolve and dissolve and evolve. And this is really helping me to
Mm-hmm.
do that. So you, with all due respect, become irrelevant to my journey. You are a helper. You're a fellow traveler, but you do not come to this equation. My
Mm-hmm.
equation is between me and me. And I realize that this is something that needs to happen to remind me that I haven't really cleared this one out. I'm still expecting, I'm still like trying to even justice, which is a very wonderful thing. I mean, as a former human rights commissioner, I don't have the heart to say that that's not important. Of course it is. But we're talking one step higher. We're talking about a consciousness level that says if everything stays as they are, and seems like it's going to, how can I still evolve and move forward with my own kind of consciousness and understanding of life?
Yeah, and be at peace, regardless
Exactly.
of that,
Yes.
regardless of any of that. So I think it's an interesting contemplation for someone who's going through the process, and I'm going through it myself actively. And sometimes we can have, I mean, if we have someone, we can have friends who can help us see things from a different angle.
Mhm.
Once we have this context that you're sharing, Mitra, we can now ask, like, what am I not seeing?
Mhm.
right
Mhm.
now that others might be able to see about this situation.
Mhm.
And if they can help us see, then it could help us realize that decision point more quickly and more easily. Really just the question
Mhm.
asking
Yes.
the question in and of itself is so powerful, but asking in the question in a truly inquisitive way. Because I
Mhm.
find myself sometimes I ask the question and it's like from a place of like resentment, like, okay,
Mhm.
show me. Like, okay, just if it's really my willingness, a matter of my choice, I'd be like, there's like a part of me that expects that I'm not going to get the answer, and I'm just asking it to
Yes.
ask it. But there's a different type of inquiry, a question where it's like truly inquisitive. Is this really my choice?
Mhm.
How is it my decision? I'm so curious.
Mhm.
What am I not seeing? And
Mhm.
invariably, when we are genuine about a question, the universe always, always responds. Always,
Mhm. Yes, it
without
does.
fail.
It does always. But when I am not seeing it, that means I always tell myself, okay, you needed another experience to experience it, no problem. And you really need to, and this is not sarcastic, this is really lovingly. I can see that I'm still arguing, which means I may need well, like a few more experiences before I get to that clarity, because you know when you have made that choice, you know when you're clear. And if I'm not there, that's fine too. I mean, I don't need to get there tonight. That's okay. But just know that you will have more experiences and you will get another opportunity to resolve and dissolve this. And that's okay too. I can tell I'm like in objection. I'm still thinking, but you don't know, I'm in a courtroom. And I say, okay, that means it's really funny. It's like there's two sides of me talking to each other. The wise one says, that's okay, Mitra. I love you. Come here. I'll give you a cup of tea, but you're going to repeat this. You know that. It's okay. It's okay. You're going to have exactly the same situation, probably with exactly same person, and you're going to ask exactly the same questions. But one of these days, you're going to say, that's it. I think I'm done. It's just like how people stop their
I see the point you're
addictions.
making. I see the point you're making because sometimes we want to make it bigger than it actually is. What I hear you
Yes.
saying is like we don't even. It's simpler than we think it is. Just
Yes.
because we've spent our whole life in a certain pattern doesn't mean that a simple decision can't change it. And some part of us might believe that it can't be that easy. It can't be that simple. And some part of us might want to make it bigger and more complicated than it actually needs to be. And that's what I hear you saying. It's like, no, it's actually simple. You just come to that point where you're done. You're
Yes.
done.
It's a
It's your
point of
willingness.
decision. Exactly. It's a point of decision. I could be addicted, and these are addictive behavior. I could be addicted to like something really difficult for my body, a lifetime almost. And the moment I decide that's it doesn't mean that that would be the last day, but that I know that that's the moment. And I'm not going to go back to that moment. And I think that's so important to see and allow for that to happen, because that becomes another expectation that I expect that because I had a journey and because of this, I have to do it on this particular one. No, when you're ready, it is much more effortless than what we imagine.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. And we can look back and laugh at how complicated we
Exactly.
made it.
Exactly. And it's so beautiful when we do. And it's lovely. Sometimes you see it in other people. Sometimes you see the very person that provoked you and you say, wow, haven't I come a long way? Well done, little kid. I really love how you're journeying here. And that's a beautiful moment. And it may happen right away. It may happen 10 years later. It may happen 100 years later. It may not happen in this lifetime. That's okay too. There's no rush. We will all arrive, Ben. We will all arrive, and there's no rush.
Amen. And may that be a wish for everyone listening, that
Yes.
you arrive and that you arrive with grace
Yeah.
and with ease.
Please let us know if you're arriving or you have arrived or you would like to arrive. We'd like to hear about your experience and your journey.
We'd love to. Leave some comments for us. Mitra, until next time.
Bye.
Thank you so much for tuning in today. For a list of the links and other resources referenced in this episode, check out the podcast description.
If you're benefiting from our podcast, we'd love if you could help us reach more people by subscribing. Your support means the world to us. From our hearts to yours, we thank you.